This episode of Simple Civics EdTalks is sponsored by InformEdSC.org, South Carolina's most comprehensive and user-friendly nonpartisan data center for critical information about students, teachers, achievement, and funding for public education. Bringing together district and state-level data, InformEdSC.org is a one-stop shop for researchers and champions to advance knowledge and inform action. InformEdSC.org is a special project of Public Education Partners, Greenville County.
Starting a career in education is both exciting and challenging. And today, we're getting a real look at what that first year actually feels like. I'm Mary Leslie Anderson here with Erin Rigot. And in this episode of Simple Civics EdTalks, we're joined by Anna Haas, first-year teacher navigating the highs, the hurdles, and everything in between. From building relationships with students to finding their footing in the classroom, we'll hear what this journey has been like and what she's learned along the way. Let's dive in. All right, everybody, welcome to this episode of Simple Civics Ed Talks. We are here with Ms. Anna Haas, who is a first-year teacher at Tanglewood Middle School. And we just want to highlight what teachers and first-year teachers especially kind of experience through their whole first year of school. Erin, I know, you and I know, just coaching first-year teachers that sometimes you just have to say, it's all going to be okay next year. So this is going to be great just to get a personal take from a first-year teacher. And so welcome, Anna. We're glad to have you.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You're welcome. Would you start just a little bit by telling us kind of like how you arrived at being a multilingual learner educator and a little bit just about you?
Sure, yes. So I'm originally from North Carolina, and I did my teacher preparation at UNC Charlotte through a graduate program. They actually had a program called the Teacher Quality Partnership Program. I finished my undergrad there in English and deciding I wanted to teach, and then went into a teacher prep program it was going to be a licensure program and then a master's program. Unfortunately, it was federally funded, and in February it was cut. But I did obtain my teaching licensure through that. Originally, I was also supposed to get my ML certification and a graduate degree. But amongst all that crazy, I decided to move to South Carolina and found the job at Tanglewood. I was between being an ELA teacher and an ML teacher. And part of that was due to my mom was actually an adult ML teacher for most of my life, but had originally thought I wanted to teach high school ELA. But when I moved, I was really open to either doing ELA or ML. And so I found the job at Tanglewood, and I've fallen in love with Tanglewood, and I will stay at Tanglewood to be an ML teacher. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great. Can you tell us, especially the listeners, what is ML and what does that kind of educator do for our schools and our community?
Sure. the ML department has a lot of acronyms, as education often does, but ML stands for multilingual, or MLL, multilingual learner. You may also hear ESL or ESOL, which is English second language or English for speakers of other languages. So we work with the population of students who English is not their first language. It may be their second, third, fourth, or fifth, but it is not their primary or first language. And so that can make working in an all-English classroom a little bit difficult. So our job is to help equip students with the language they need for the world and also to participate in the classroom.
Awesome. When you think back to the start of the year, what stands out to you? Can you even remember it?
Whew, that's what I would say. The start of the year, it was a whirlwind. I actually was hired pretty close to the start of the year.
Okay.
So it was just lock and load and go at the beginning. I remember being in the induction meeting, and they show you the graph where the graph of the first year teacher. And I remember thinking, this is crazy. It's crazy that they understand that we are all going to feel these things and they're able to put it onto a graph. I still have feelings about that where I'm like, it's wild that we all know this is going to be our experience. There's going to be some high, some low, and then some leveling back out. But over time, I've come to love that graph and understand that it's a good thing to be able to visualize what it looks like to be a first-year teacher.
Do you think you've leveled out?
I do. It's very odd. I was walking down the hallway the other day and someone asked me how I was doing. And I was like, I'm really good. But thinking about how there are just as many things to do and just as much craziness in the school year, but I feel like I have much more of a handle on things. And I do feel much more confident, much more leveled out.
What supports or people would you say have helped you get through this year?
Yes, this is where I really have to sing Tanglewood's praise. I love that school. Fortunately, I came from North Carolina and I didn't know much about Tanglewood as a school. It was only after getting hired there that I learned it had maybe an outside reputation, a negative reputation, which was shocking to me because the first day I walked in, I was doing a tour of the school with the principal, and immediately teachers were excited I was there. They were super welcoming and just ready for me to be a part of that team. And so I'm thankful that I didn't know that preconceived idea about Tanglewood before I came, because it allowed me to meet Tanglewood as it really is, which is, in my opinion, a really great place to work. And so I need to shout out the administration, who has just been super, super supportive of me as a first year teacher. My mentor, who I have, my first day, had flowers and a card for me. And then the other ML or multilingual teachers at the school, they really just scooped me in. My department is amazing. It's full of really experienced women who are phenomenal at their job and have just been there with me every step of the way. So yeah. And then even just the other teachers of different subjects who are willing to just talk and be there and any questions you have. The instructional coach has been a huge support to me. And that would be advice I would give to first year teachers, is always ask for help. Don't struggle by yourself. I hope every first year teacher has a support system they feel they can lean on, and definitely ask for help, because there is someone who's there and more than willing to help you.
Awesome. We all go into teaching with a vision, I feel like, especially those of us who wanted to be a teacher from forever, the vision of your first classroom, your first group of students, what that looks like. What has been your biggest shift in thinking about students and learning?
I think maybe the biggest shift was with me, where I was standing in front of the room and I had a moment where I thought to myself, oh, I am the teacher here. All of these kids are looking at me. I decide the rules. I will tell them what to do next. And you need to have those things in place, because if you do not tell them, or you do not have that structure, they will start to do things on their own and decide what they will do. And so, yeah, that was a shift for me, was maybe thinking about how important the organization of the classroom is actually for the student. And it seems that people say it a lot, but that the students really do need and thrive with that structure. Sometimes it might feel like you're being harsh to have rules and follow through, but that they actually really benefit from that. And the students, you feel disappointed that you had to give a behavior step 2 for whatever reason. The next day when you have a fresh start, they actually really tend to lock in, and your relationship with that student can become stronger having those rules and follow through, so that your whole classroom is a structure, creating that learning environment where the students feel secure to learn.
On that note, you just hit on a lot of different things that a first year teacher kind of has to realize for the first time is now on their plate, right? It's not always teaching in front of the room. You've got a lesson plan. You've got to plan proactively. You've got classroom management. You have collaboration with your peers. So how did all of that settle in this year? Do you feel like now you understand fully what goes into teaching, or do you feel like there's still some things that you want to work on for next year?
Both, and I would say yes. So I feel more confident. You don't know what you don't know. And I think before it was my first year, people would ask, what are you most nervous about? And the answer would be classroom management. And I found a lot of my peers felt the same. And I would think it is still a thing, because you just don't know what to expect until you're in the room. I had my list of rules planned and I went over those. And over the year I've been like, oh, I need to make this a rule. I need to make this, or this needs to be a guideline, or I need to teach kids how to do this so that this process runs more streamlined. And so you definitely can prepare, but you just don't know, I think, until you're in the classroom what rules, what procedures you may really need. And so I think there's a lot. It's only my first year of teaching, so I think I still have a lot to learn. I've heard the 3-year rule that really it takes
Very
3
true.
years to feel settled. And I again, kind of like the map, I at first was like, 3 years, that's a long time. Why is it gonna take 3 years? And now I see that a little bit more hopeful of, "Oh, okay, now that I've gotten through my first year, I understand I'm gonna know even more by my second year, and I'm gonna know even more by my third year." Does that answer specifically enough?
Does, yeah.
Yeah.
What exact routine is there an exact routine or thing you have learned that's been successful with your students, especially the middle school level? It can be a simple one like pencil collection or anything. It
I
doesn't
think
have to
so
be
it
anything,
is an area I still need developing in because I look at my classroom sometimes and I'm like, this could run a little more streamlined." I think one good thing is just having a place for papers, but I'd love to develop more of a routine of maybe classroom roles, who specifically will gather and organize the papers. But something as simple as have a place for your papers to go for students to turn things in, having students having students pass out books, pass out pencils, because that just takes a lot of time that you don't realize.
You mentioned that structure and expectation for routines, behavior, just really overall class structure helps to develop that relationship with the students.
Mhm.
Where I think sometimes, I'm going to just say society in general, you know, we want to make people happy, right? And sometimes when you uphold a rule or hold somebody to a higher standard, it's hard,
Mhm.
right? But you talk about how that builds the relationship. Will you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yes, sure. That's something I was thinking a lot about in
Uh-huh.
prep for this interview was I came in not wanting to be their friend. I think that's a
Mhm.
hard place to start. Don't start wanting to be their friend, but wanting to be the fun, welcoming
Mhm.
teacher that I, of course, want the students to feel safe and comfortable and feel they have a relationship with me. And that can sometimes come at the expense of discipline.
Mhm.
And on the other end, some people may come in very hard,
Hard.
and there's no room for compassion or grace or understanding what's happening with the student. And I think that's a continual balance I'm trying to find, is how to have grace and understanding for the students, and also understanding that I have found the whole class really does need a certain amount of structure and discipline, because without it, there are the kids that want to learn that aren't getting the chance to do what they need to do, and they become frustrated when
Mhm.
class is all over the place.
Mhm.
But then you have the students who continuously disrupt, or you've talked with them. I'm a big proponent of having a conversation with the student and understanding what's going on. And then at a certain level, you realize with middle schoolers, they may love and respect you, and they still are not going to
Of
do what you ask
course.
them to
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
Of
You're like,
course.
I thought you loved and respected me. And
That
they
was
do.
yesterday.
That- and that will be tomorrow. But right now I
Mhm.
want to be out of my seat, or right now I want to be doing whatever it is that
Mhm.
I'm trying to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was hard the first time giving a harsher
Mhm.
disciplinary step, giving a referral to a student that
Harder than
I
you think.
really care about. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't want to give you a referral. Don't you know that
Mhm.
this isn't
Mm.
this isn't what you want either? But I found that actually following through with the steps and the things, the student came back. You have to have a fresh start. You have a
Mhm.
fresh start with the student, and it it strengthens that bond actually
Yeah.
to say, "Hey, I am holding you to this expectation because I love you,
Right.
not because I want to get you in trouble, but because I love you and care about you." And then the student is able to say, okay, I understand the boundary, I understand the expectation, and they can rise to that. But it doesn't always feel good at first.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
You listed a lot of great things that go into all the parts of being a teacher. So, what's one belief about teaching that you hold strongly after this year?
I think this year just reinforced my teaching why, which was I really believe all students deserve the chance at an education, a quality education. They deserve the chance to learn and see where education can take them. And I believe that even more fully, seeing how you may have students who say they don't like school, but watching them in the classroom and watching them click with something or apply something, you're like, you do like to learn. You just say you don't. And I think being able to see that firsthand, see how students
I love that you mentioned structure. We've not talked about that a lot
No, we
in our
haven't.
podcast episodes, and that's just so crucial to all levels, no matter what you teach, whether it's
Kindergarten to
ML, kindergarten,
seniors.
senior,
Yeah.
English, math, it doesn't matter. It really is what helps students
Mhm.
thrive in a school environment. So I love that you mentioned how powerful that's been for you this year.
Absolutely. Just one more little thing. Actually, I have two. If you could sum up your first year in one sentence or one word, what would that be?
I would say my first year of teaching has been rigorous but exciting.
Okay. I love that. I just love that. I love that you can name it,
Mm-hmm.
And then what are you excited about for next year?
I'm excited for another year at Tanglewood.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love that place. I love those people. I am excited to step into a new classroom. I'm going to miss my 8th graders that are moving on to high school, so that's a bit sad to say, oh, this is my first set of kids that are moving on that I won't see next year. But I'm also excited to step back into the school with a fresh slate, taking what I've learned from this year and starting from that point instead of starting where I was at the beginning of last year. And so I'm excited to see how my classroom grows and changes. I'm excited to see my 6th and 7th graders continue to grow as they go into the next year. And then I'm excited to meet a new, fresh set of kids.
Great.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here today. We're so excited that you're in Greenville County Schools and
Yes.
that you are
Yes.
going to continue with us
Yeah.
moving forward. But what a great example of what a first year looks like and all of the things that go into teaching. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Simple Civics EdTalks is a joint project of Greater Good Greenville, Greenville First Steps, and Public Education Partners Greenville County.
Hi, Simple Civics Greenville County listeners, Nathaniel here. If you've made it this far, then we think you'll really love our newsletter. Sign up for bonus content, updates, and more right in your inbox. Look for the link in the description that says newsletter to sign up, or visit us at simplecivicsgreenvillecounty.org. Find the link in the menu that says newsletter and sign up there. We'll see you again next week.